Hi guys, welcome to our channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to draft this trouser pattern. So if this is your first time visiting our channel, kindly subscribe to this channel, and do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you can get update from us whenever we post a new video. So guys, this is the easiest method ever. Let's go straight into the video. Required measurement needed for this trouser pattern drafting is the length, your waist, your hip, your knee length, your round knee, and your crotch line. So these are the required measurements. Next, we are going to divide the hips by 4, your waist measurement by 4, the thigh divided by 2, your round nail divided by 2, your crotch line. You use this formula in case you didn't measure your client. That's your hip divided by 4 plus 1 if you are working with an average size. But if you are working with a plus size, you use plus 1.5, or you tell your client to sit on a flat surface and measure from the waist down to the flat surface. So I just went ahead to mark 2 inch from that start line to the hem of my paper. Okay, so my measurement will be starting from that line. I'm just going to be connecting using my straight ruler. Okay, so guys, connect to the end of your paper. This trouser is going to be having a band, so I'm going to be subtracting 1.5 inch off my measurement. Okay, so you're not going to place your tape on 0. No, you're going to start from 1.5 inch because it will be having a band. Then you measure to your required length. Okay, so that's going to be my waistline. Then measure the length of your trouser. So from there, I'm going to be putting my hip line, and the hip line that I'm using is 8.5. So I've gone ahead to mark 8.5, then connect using my straight ruler. So that's my hip line. So the next thing I'll do, please still put your tape from 1.5 inch. That is how we'll be taking our measurement. Don't make the mistake of starting from 1 or 0, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to be using my crotch line. Remember the formula that we used, so I'm just going to impute that value there. So I had 12.25 or something like that. So I'm just going to mark like so. Take your measurement from 1.5, not from the 0 bar. So I'm just going to connect like so. That's my crotch line. The next thing I'll do, I'm just going to be measuring my knee line. Okay, so for this I used 22 initially instead of 23, so it was a mistake. I had to correct that mistake. So I'm going to have two knee line, but one, I'm just going to be making use of one. The first one is not correct, so I'm just going to be using the second one. It's 22 and not 23, so I'm just going to rule out or mark out 23 and connect using a straight ruler. So here is my new knee line. I went ahead to cancel the old one. So the next thing I'll do, from your crotch line to get my thigh line, I'll just measure 3 inch from the crotch line. Okay, so measure and connect as you see me doing. I also went ahead to label it as our thigh line. Okay, so I used a black marker for this so that this can be visible enough for us to see. So the next thing I'll do, I'm just going to divide my hip measurement by 4, then I'll add like 1 inch as is. Okay, so I'm going to impute that measurement on my waist line and on my crotch line. Then I'm going to connect your hip divided by 4 plus 1 as is. Okay, so I'm just going to connect from the waist to the crotch line, connect with a straight ruler. So from there, I'm going to get my crotch extension. So I'm going to extend that crotch line. So what I'll do, I'm just going to measure from my crotch line. I'm going to measure from my crotch line. I had 12, so divided by 4. Whatever you have, divide it into 4, and that will serve as your crotch extension. Okay, so what I had is 3, so I went ahead to mark 3 to get my crotch extension. So from that point, I'll go in by 1 inch. Okay, I just went in by 1 inch, and also at the upper part I went in by half of an inch because we want this crotch line to sit well on our body. We don't want any fold. So I'm just going to use my curve to connect this. Just watch what I'm doing, guys. If you don't understand what I'm saying, watch what I'm doing, okay? So that's going to be our crotch line. So the next thing I'll do, I'll go ahead and impute my waist measurement. Your waist divided by 4, which is 9. Mine is 36, divided by 4 is 9. So I went ahead to add 1 inch seam allowance and 1 inch that, okay? So I'll go ahead and connect it down to my hip line. So after connecting to my hip line, I went ahead to measure my crotch line, okay? So measure from where my tape is to my crotch extension. Sorry, it didn't capture this very well. So divide it into two to get your crease line. So your crotch extension, divide it into two to get your crease line. So mine is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So I went ahead to measure 7.5 on the thigh line, on the knee line, and also at the hem of this trouser pattern and the crotch line. Then you connect. I went ahead to extend my thigh line. So the next thing I'll do, I'll divide my thigh into 2, and the thigh measurement that we're using is 30 divided by 2 is 15. So I'm going to share the 15 into 2. So also on the knee line, the new measurement that we're using is 20 divided by 2 is 10. So I'm going to share that 10 in between this crease line. So 5 on both sides. So likewise the hem of this dress, because this is not a fitted dress, I'm still going to repeat my new measurement on the at the hem of this trouser. So I went ahead to connect using my straight ruler, okay? Connect the two lines together from the knee line to the hem of the trouser. So I went to connect the other side as well. Connect like so. So guys, I'm just going to connect from my thigh. I'm just going to connect like so. Can you see? I connected from my thigh line to my knee line. I went ahead to blend this, okay? So after I was done doing that, I also connected my thigh line to my knee line. Can you see? If you don't understand what I'm saying, just make sure you look at what I'm doing. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to input my dart. So I'm going to be measuring from my waist, the actual waist measurement. You divide it into 2, and you come down by 4.5 to get your front dart leg, okay? So I went ahead to connect. So from I forgot I actually connected the waist to my hip wrongly, so I've done the correction. So I'm just going to go down by 0.5 inch from that crotch line and connect to my waistline. Just watch what I'm doing, guys. So the next thing I'll do, we are basically through with this. I went ahead to cut the front pattern out, okay? So the reason why we went up by 0.5 and we connected to our waistline is so that your trouser can sit well on your waist. You know, a woman's tummy is naturally straight, so it has to sit perfectly well on your waist. So guys, we are going to be drafting the back pattern. I placed the front on a new pattern paper and I made an extension, okay? From that crotch line, I'm just going to measure 2 inch, then come down by half of an inch, okay? Because I want to get the back crotch line. So come down by half of an inch and connect. So I'm just going to be marking 2 inch from this point, okay? So remember, I'm just going to also mark my 3 inch. Remember that 3 inch for the extension. So just get the middle of this line from your dart to your waist, okay? Just get the center. I've marked the center and I'm just going to impute that 3 inch. Just mark it straight. Make sure it's straight. Just connect it straight. Mark 3 inch, that is from your crotch extension. Just mark it. Then I'll be connecting that line, the 3 lines together, okay? I'm just going to connect the 3 lines together. Guys, if you don't understand what I'm saying, look at what I'm doing. Just connect the 3 lines. Sorry, it didn't capture this very well, but you still get to see the view better. So guys, I went ahead to measure my waist measurement and I had 11. So I'm going to extend my waistline, okay? Extend your waistline. Then I'm going to impute that 11 inch. Can you see what I'm doing? Just mark where your 11 is from that 3 inch that we went up. Mark 11 inch to your waistline, then you connect. So that's now our new waistline for the back, okay? So the next thing I'll do, the back is going to have a zip at the back. So I will extend that waist measurement and mark 1.5 as to my waist zipper allowance. I also went ahead to add half of an inch to the crotch line. Okay, sorry, this was not captured well, but you get to see it better, so that this will serve as our joining allowance. So I'm just going to be adding the seam allowance. So we'll be using 1 inch seam allowance for this. I went to add one at the knee line. At the tie line, I added 1 inch. Likewise, I'm just going to add at the crotch line too. Then I'll connect from my waist to my crotch line. Okay, guys, just watch what I'm doing. And if you are new to our channel, do not forget to like and subscribe. So I just went ahead to connect to the 1 inch seam allowance. I'm just going to mark 1 inch at the hem of this trouser and connect from the nail to the hem line. 1 inch seam allowance. Trouser doesn't need much allowance. 1 inch, 0.5, 0.75 is okay. So I'm going to mark for the other side. Mark 1 inch at the knee line and at the hem of your trouser and connect like so. Also on the tie line, I'll mark 1 inch and connect from my crotch down to my knee line. Okay, make sure you add 1 inch seam allowance. So guys, we are almost through with this. So the next thing I'll do, I'm just going to be adding half of an inch as the joining allowance for the back. Okay, so add half of an inch to this. I also went ahead to cut out the waist for the front. Okay, so I didn't actually do that because I needed it to draft my back pattern. So I have cut this out and I'll be adding joining allowance when I eventually transfer it to my fabric. So guys, we are basically through with this. Here is our back pattern. So I'll go ahead and remove the pins that I used in securing the front pattern to the back. So I'll go right now and cut this out. Watch what I'm doing, guys. Watch this is not as difficult as it seems to be. So this is simplest method ever. So guys, watch, like, subscribe, and do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you can always get update from us whenever we post a new video. So guys, this is the end of our tutorial. I'll go ahead now and transfer this to my fabric. Okay, so before then, I imputed my dart for the back. So that's it, and the dart leg for the back is 5, not 4.5. So it's 5. So I just went ahead to mark 5 and connect using my straight ruler to get my dart legs. Okay, so that's basically all for the back dart. So I'll go ahead and transfer this pattern to my fabric. Please do not forget to add 0.5 to your front pattern and also 0.5 at the crotch line. That will serve as the joining allowance, and also add your hemming allowance to your trouser pattern, both the front and the back. Add 1 inch or 2 inch as the case may be. And guys, we are through with this tutorial. So do not forget to like. I'll keep on singing and saying this over and over. Like and subscribe to this channel so we all can grow together. In my next video, I'll be teaching you how to sew this trouser. So you just have to come along with me so we can do this together. Stay tuned to my channel. So guys, until I see you in my next video, bye 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 bye.